When we think of pirates, most of us imagine gold and jewels, treasure chests buried on isolated islands, or glimmering coins clutched in the hands of swashbucklers. Movies and novels have cemented this image, but the reality is far darker, more complicated, and far more fascinating. Pirates' most valuable loot wasn't gold. It wasn't even silver. It was sugar, rum, and grimly, human lives. Understanding this reveals much more than just their greed. It tells us about the Caribbean, global trade, and the brutal economics of the 17th and 18th centuries. Gold and silver were tempting, but they were rare and heavily protected. Treasure fleets sailed with heavily armed escorts, and attacking them was often suicidal. Pirates needed practical wealth, commodities they could consume, trade, or sell immediately. Sugar, the so-called white gold, became one of the most coveted items in the Caribbean. The sweet commodity powered European palates, fueled massive plantation economies, and enriched anyone who could intercept it. Pirate crews quickly learned that raiding sugar-laden ships could yield bigger, faster rewards than trying to seize a treasure galleon guarded by dozens of soldiers. Sugar barrels could be sold quickly in pirate-friendly ports like Nassau, Tortuga, or Port Royal, feeding crews, buying weapons, or lining pockets without delay. Rum, produced from sugarcane molasses, was equally essential. Pirates drank it, traded it, and even used it as currency. The infamous grog ration, a mix of rum and water that kept crews disciplined, loyal, and sometimes euphoric enough to fight under terrifying conditions. Barrels of rum were liquid assets, valuable for trade, bribery, or sustaining a crew during long voyages. Some pirates, like Blackbeard, actively sought rum-laden ships, knowing this commodity could fuel both profit and survival. Rum also held social power. A pirate distributing it wisely could maintain influence and morale among men who were otherwise difficult to control. The human cost of piracy is often overlooked. Pirates didn't just raid sugar or rum, they intercepted slave ships. Enslaved Africans were considered valuable property, and pirate crews profited either by selling them or occasionally incorporating a few into their ranks. While some pirates, for practical or ideological reasons, freed captives, the majority treated humans as cargo. The transatlantic slave trade created the conditions for this, and piracy cannot be understood separately from it. Human suffering was woven into the very economy pirates exploited. Pirates were far from random outlaws. They were highly strategic, operating within the global trade network known as the Triangle Trade. Europe exported weapons, textiles, and manufactured goods to Africa. Africa supplied enslaved people to the Americas, and the Americas sent back sugar, rum, and tobacco. Pirates intercepted shipments along every leg of this triangle, capturing commodities that were already part of a worldwide system of commerce. Raids were rarely chaotic, they were calculated. Pirates chose targets for maximum profit with minimal risk, sometimes collaborating with other crews, sometimes exploiting weakly defended fleets. Pirate havens like Nassau, Tortuga, and Port Royal functioned as black markets, repair stations, recruitment centers, and political hubs. These ports allowed pirates to offload cargo, recruit skilled sailors, and even bribe local officials. Pirate codes ensured the equitable division of loot and maintained discipline aboard ships. Captains received the largest shares, followed by essential officers like surgeons and carpenters, with the rest of the crew receiving equal portions according to rank. Desertion or betrayal could result in marooning on deserted islands with minimal supplies, or execution for more severe transgressions. In this way, loot, whether sugar, rum, or enslaved people, was both wealth and a tool for maintaining social order. Pirates understood that reputation was a weapon. The mere threat of attack could compel a ship to surrender without a fight. Blackbeard, for example, cultivated a terrifying image with a thick black beard, slow movements, and slow-burning fuses in his hat, producing smoke and fear simultaneously. Sometimes pirates relied more on intimidation than combat, conserving resources while maximizing profit. Intelligence mattered just as much. Captains studied shipping lanes, the timing of trade convoys, and the locations of lightly defended settlements. Coordination with other pirate crews allowed for massive raids that could overwhelm even fortified ports. Life aboard pirate ships was a mixture of danger, opportunity, and a crude form of social mobility. Unlike the rigid hierarchies of navies or merchant ships, pirate crews often elected captains and held votes on major decisions. Leadership was conditional. A captain could be removed if deemed incompetent. This system allowed talented navigators, gunners, and surgeons to rise in influence. Though egalitarian in structure, pirate society was brutal. Disputes were common, and survival often depended on loyalty, cunning, and physical skill. Piracy intersected deeply with politics. Many so-called pirates started as privateers, sanctioned by European states to attack enemy shipping. Letters of marque allowed captains like Sir Francis Drake or Henry Morgan to raid Spanish possessions under the protection of England or France. Yet the line between legal privateering and illegal piracy was thin. Greedy or ambitious captains often ignored the limits of their commissions, attacking settlements, fleets, and convoys they weren't authorized to target. These actions blurred moral and legal lines and enriched pirate crews dramatically. The strategies pirates employed were also fascinating. Some operated in coordinated fleets, combining forces to attack well-defended convoys. Others used deception, flying friendly flags until they were close enough to strike. Pirates adapted quickly to new technology, including improved cannons and small arms, and they often exploited weather and geography, hiding in coves, striking during storms, or using treacherous reefs as natural barriers. Their operational sophistication often rivaled that of state navies. Pirates' understanding of commerce went beyond capturing sugar or rum. They often raided the very infrastructure of trade, warehouses, ports, and docks. By controlling access to ports, they could manipulate prices and negotiate bribes with officials, merchants, or governors. Sometimes the treasure wasn't the cargo itself, but the leverage gained from capturing key locations, forcing settlements to pay ransom or comply with demands. Some pirate legends illustrate these strategies vividly. Henry Every, for example, captured one of the richest ships of the Indian Ocean trade, the Ganj-i-Sawai, filled with gold, silver, jewels, and pilgrims' valuables. Blackbeard blockaded ports, demanding ransoms while instilling terror, yet he carefully avoided unnecessary combat to minimize losses. Bartholomew Roberts, another notorious figure, meticulously captured ships across the Atlantic and Caribbean, distributing plunder fairly and enforcing strict discipline while maintaining a highly effective and profitable operation. Despite their successes, the decline of piracy in the early 18th century was inevitable. Peace treaties reduced targets for privateers, internal conflicts fractured alliances, and European powers increasingly hunted pirates using former pirates, trained naval officers, and intelligence networks. Ports that had once offered safe harbors became dangerous. Pirates faced execution, imprisonment, or exile if caught. By 1721, piracy in the Caribbean was effectively suppressed, though smaller pirate activities persisted in the Indian Ocean and other regions. Pirates' treasures were rarely the romanticized chests of gold. They were barrels of sugar and rum, enslaved people, intelligence about trade routes, skilled crews, and the fear they inspired. They exploited empires and global commerce, profited from suffering, and created unique micro-societies with their own rules, codes, and hierarchies. Their legacy is complex, morally ambiguous, and deeply entwined with global trade, colonialism, and exploitation. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of pirate life was how it reflected cunning, strategy, and social innovation. Pirates navigated not just the seas, but entire networks of commerce, politics, and human relationships. Sugar, rum, and slaves were critical commodities, but knowledge, alliances, discipline, and reputation were just as vital. Understanding this forces us to reconsider what treasure truly meant for pirates, not mere wealth, but the means to control, survive, and dominate in a dangerous, unequal world. If this glimpse into the real treasures of pirates surprised you, please like this video and subscribe to Time Path. Share in the comments what part shocked you the most, and does it change how you think about the pirate myth forever?